The health emergency disaster due to the spread of the novel Wuhan coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is a type of influenza, and it continues to bring challenges and new forms of communicating, ways of doing business or not, and general altered living conditions, as a stay-at-home order means that everyone's life has changed this spring. DCTV Daily News and partners continue to work diligently to bring you the latest information and how this impacts you, the community. Wash your hands, stay well and strong. I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dev Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. Okay, this is steaming up my glasses. That is the Special District Association responsible for bringing the area free-to-access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there's a news story or event information that you would like to share, you can call us at 970-677-4119. If you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Tuesday program for April 7th, 2020, DCTV Daily News. The Colorado Sun reported that Governor Jared Polis announced he is extending Colorado's statewide stay-at-home order until at least April 26 in an unprecedented televised speech to the entire state on Monday night, during which he urged residents to continue making sacrifices to keep the new coronavirus from spreading out of control. Quote, "The reason for the April 26 date is simple, because the data and the science tells us that staying at home is our best chance, our only realistic chance to avoid a catastrophic loss of life. The deaths of thousands of our friends, our neighbors, our family members," Polis said. Polis, speaking to Coloradans from the governor's mansion for about 17 minutes, said he knows that many in the state are frustrated and angry as they try to weather the crisis caused by the new coronavirus. The extension is surely to prolong the economic pain being felt by many in Colorado, as it means restaurants and bars, theaters and sporting venues, ski areas and malls will all have to remain closed. "We all want a timeline," he said. "When will this nightmare be over?" It's been more than a month since the first cases of coronavirus in Colorado were announced on March 6. Colorado now has reported 150 deaths attributed to coronavirus and over 5,000 confirmed cases, though health officials say there are likely actually between 17 and 18,000 Coloradans who are or have been infected. Nearly 1,000 of those with confirmed cases of COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus, are hospitalized, and there are outbreaks in at least 41 nursing homes and senior care centers. And you need to check these data against the regular flu and the other pneumonia things that cause people death during this time of the year. Those facilities have driven the state's coronavirus deaths. Through Monday, 9 people had died at the Centennial Healthcare Center alone, a Greeley Senior Care Center owned by Sava Senior Care, which operates 25 facilities in Colorado. If too many people get seriously ill all at once from this virus, our healthcare system simply will not have the capacity to handle the flood of sick patients, Polis said. And that's the flatlining of the curve that they talk about. They just don't want everybody sick at once. That will overrun and cause more deaths than are needed. The decision, not needed, but could be handled by the system. The decision is to extend the stay-at-home order comes as state public health officials rejected projections from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington that were widely shared on Monday, showing that Colorado has already passed its peak when it comes to impact on the healthcare system. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment was emphatic that the estimates weren't accurate because they are built on false premises and do not take into account a host of factors, including the state's demographics and detailed infection data. Modeling from University of Colorado experts show the situation as being more dire. Quote, "We are certain our peak has not hit," said Jill Hunsaker-Ryan, who runs the CDPHE. "As for when the peak will come, or if it already has happened, that's uncertain," the state health department said. Projections have shown it happening anytime between later on this month and July. Polis's statewide stay-at-home order, which went into effect on March 26, was originally set to expire on April 11th. He has been warning for days that he was likely to extend it. On Monday, Monday, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock went even further than Polis by extending his city's stay-at-home order until at least April 30th. Even President Donald Trump has recommended that people stay inside until the end of the month. The economic impacts of the restrictions put in place by Polis have been severe. More than 120,000 people through the end of last week had filed unemployment claims as the restaurant, tourism, and hospitality sectors have been temporarily eliminated. Meanwhile, the state's oil and gas industry is in distress because of plummeting oil prices. The live TV address was the first in recent memory for a Colorado governor, top aides in prior administrations said, and possibly the only of its kind in state history. The address also comes at a moment in which the Polis administration is facing increased scrutiny for a lack of transparency regarding the data behind the disease's spread in Colorado. Republican lawmakers, along with the news media, are pressing for more information about COVID-19 deaths and the most affected areas. Quote, "The confidence our citizens depend on to trust their government's actions and the long-term health of our economy must be addressed," 24 Republican lawmakers wrote in a letter to Polis on Monday. I think that goes for everyone wanting to have more transparency and clarity in terms of what this new enemy really is. And now let's take a look at the local weather. Today, sunny with a high near 61 degrees, south-southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, we're looking for clear skies and a low around 37 degrees. Southwest winds at 5 to 15 miles an hour become east-southeast after midnight. For Wednesday, another sunny day with a high near 64 degrees. Calm winds becoming south-southwest after around 5 miles an hour in the afternoon. Then Wednesday night, a 30% chance for showers comes in mainly after midnight. Mostly cloudy and a low around 36 degrees with those south winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Into Thursday, we're looking for more rain and possible snow showers likely all after 11, switching to all rain after 11 a.m. Partly sunny with a high near 50 degrees. On Thursday, south winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour, and we may have some gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Thursday's chance for precipitation sits still at 60%. Thursday night, partly cloudy and a low around 30 degrees. And then for Friday, it clears out with mostly sunny skies and a high near 56. Friday night, mostly clear and a low around 34. Hopefully that's a good Friday. And then Saturday, sunny with a high near 61 degrees. Saturday night, mostly clear and a low around 37 degrees. For Sunday, during the day, mostly sunny and a high near 58. Sunday night, though, a chance of rain and snow showers comes in, mostly cloudy and a low around 33 for Easter Sunday. And now, back to the news. The San Miguel County Sheriff took this photo, as reported in the Journal, as a follow-up of a recent search and rescue effort. A complicated helicopter rescue of a backcountry skier injured in an avalanche on March 31st near Rico highlights the importance of staying away from high-risk outdoor activities during the coronavirus pandemic. 20 emergency responders from Dolores County Search and Rescue, Rico Fire Department, Flight for Life, and San Miguel County Sheriff and Search and Rescue responded to the incident on Telescope Mountain. Quote, "When getting outdoors to exercise, control your level of risk so you do not put a strain on local emergency services," said Ethan Green, director of the Colorado Avalanche Information Center. Quote, "Each rescue requires a lot of emergency personnel and takes away resources needed for this pandemic. A party of 3 experienced backcountry skiers were skiing up the northeast side of Telescope Mountain when one or more triggered a slab avalanche. One man was caught in the slide and sustained a broken femur, likely from hitting trees," said Rico Fire Chief Todd Jones. He was not buried. The skiers were carrying avalanche rescue equipment, including beacons, probes, and shovels. A member of the party skied out to alert rescue authorities. The location of the avalanche was inaccessible by snowmobile. A command post and landing zone were organized in nearby McJunkin Creek for the Flight for Life helicopter to land. Rico Fire Rescue personnel were flown to a ridge above the avalanche path. Monroe, Ivy, Dave Coons, Justin Juarez, and another man skied down to the injured skier with a rescue sled. They, along with an emergency doctor and paramedic, administered aid, including a splint for the broken leg. Rescuers on skis then pulled the sled with the victim down the mountain to a waiting helicopter. He was flown to Mercy Medical Center in Durango. Quote, "It was a big operation in steep terrain," Jones said. "Please use caution recreating outdoors and always have a backcountry rescue card." In a pandemic, an added risk for backcountry rescue crews is the increased chance of infection because they work side by side and social distancing is difficult. Quote, "If an emergency responder has to be put in quarantine, then they're out of service. That puts more strain on limited public resources, Green said. On March 24th, a snowboarder was seriously injured after triggering an avalanche in the backcountry at 11,500 feet near Ophir. The rescue required more than 36 emergency personnel. The avalanche reportedly traveled 1,500 feet down the mountain. An incident report from the Colorado Avalanche Information Center said the slide traveled 1,500 feet and was 150 feet wide. An article in the Durango Herald poses the question many are concerned with above and beyond the spread of a virus in the country, and around the world for that matter. What is really happening behind all of the pandemic panic in the global banking system, the UN Agenda 2030, and others with not necessarily good intentions for the general public? And is the government response to the health crisis causing irreversible damage to civil liberties? The reporter states, does America in the era of COVID-19 have Benjamin Franklin spinning in his grave? Franklin famously wrote in a letter, quote, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Craig Connoth, assistant professor of law at the University of Colorado School of Law in Boulder, said not only is the country facing an unprecedented public health danger, it is also facing uncharted legal territory. Unprecedented restrictions on liberties, the freedom to travel, the freedom to work, the freedom of commerce are all in place across the country to slow the spread of the novel coronavirus, a threat perhaps greater than the spread of the Spanish flu in 1918, which killed an estimated 17 million people to 50 million people in a worldwide population of 1.8 billion estimated numbers. It is interesting, right? Traditionally, when we've had governments enforce quarantines and other kinds of restrictions, they generally apply to individuals we know or believe are at risk of being infected, he said. So in most cases, the individual either has the condition as it is contagious, or we believe he or she may have been exposed to the condition and therefore may be contagious. The problem right now is that we don't have any test, so there's no way to tell when someone is contagious. But the threat from COVID-19 is so severe that on balance, Connoth said the restrictions we now face are likely to prove not only wise in limiting the spread of the virus, but also likely to gain acceptance legally as the price required to deal with the public health emergency. In an assessment, we live in unprecedented times because on one hand, the orders are expansive, but on the other hand, the risk is also greater than anything we've seen before, Connoth said. And so what courts usually do is they engage in balancing, and they look to see what evidence supported the actions governments have taken, and they balance that against the civil liberties of individuals. Quote, and in situations like this, courts have often held that these actions are appropriate in the circumstances. That's my assessment, he said. And as he said, this is unprecedented, and to my thinking, courts would find that these actions make sense. Paul DeBell, assistant professor of political science at Fort Lewis College, said given the experience with September 11th of 2001 and the continued reauthorization of the Patriot Act that imposes some limitations on governmental power to conduct searches without warrants and reduces the bar for showing probable cause in investigating national security threats, it's wise to examine possible impacts to civil liberties in the wake of COVID-19. This is a time when we should really have a critical conversation about the erosion of civil liberties, he said. Now, of course, people are really concerned about their health, their families, their livelihoods, the economy, their jobs. And so that does make it a scary time for advocates of civil liberties, because we might fear that when people are just worried about making rent, are worried about feeding their kids, they might have less time and energy, understandably, to dedicate it to protecting their civil rights and liberties. But of course, protecting civil liberties have real life consequences in the long term as well, he said. He goes on to say it strikes him that President Donald Trump is more likely to be criticized for not invoking enough state power than for limiting federal actions in protection of individual liberties. He noted Trump has been criticized for failing to invoke a national stay-at-home order or take control of industries to direct production of virus tests, ventilators, and personal protection equipment under authority he has in the Defense Production Act. Trump's reluctance to take these orders, he said, likely stems from a deep reticence in American political culture about amassing too much power in the hands of the federal government, especially the presidency. In the daily COVID-19 Operation Coronavirus Health Impact, Dolores County still remains without a case. However, here's the state roundup. 5,172 cases, just 994 hospitalized, which tomorrow I hope to have a story on the countrywide perception that our hospitals are getting overrun, while firsthand evidence shows otherwise. So anyway, 994 hospitalized in Colorado, with 54 of the 64 counties having at least one case. There have been 26,875 people tested. That may not include all negative results, it says. Not sure why that data point is footnoted. And sadly, the report is 150 deaths related in some way to coronavirus within Colorado. So as you know, there are no new happenings, but not happening news. The Dolores River Festival up in Dolores has now been officially canceled, which was to take place in June. A note from the Dove Creek Chamber of Commerce that they will continue to plan and hope for July 4th to be a time of celebration for our community without the fear of the coronavirus and COVID-19 operations holding us back from gathering, but only time will tell. But as plans must be made in advance and the potential for this year's Pick and Hoe to be canceled is significant still, the Meat Pit Committee, along with the Chamber, determined to cancel the barbecue meat this year, as the initial outlay is quite costly as far as ordering the meat. Last year, it was over $7,000 for the Cook Shack cost. The Chamber is working diligently to entice more food truck vendors to put the 3rd and 4th on their calendars so that we will have enough options for eating on the 4th if this is allowed to happen. Perhaps the local establishments might also be able to better benefit from our own hometown event this year as well. As we get closer to the event, more details will be shared with the community. The time to fundraise at a time when so many people have lost their jobs or are struggling with food and the economy. Again, these types of situations are all being taken under serious consideration as how this year's event may or may not happen. But as for this weekend and Easter, remember the boat docks are closed at Lake Powell due to no staff to check for quagga mussels. I'm sure there will be people wanting to get out into their RV campers for the traditional weekend, and it may be just that you must separate from others so as not to group up. Here in town, Carol Marie Howell is having the Rocks Easter Egg Dash, but this year it will be a dash and drive-through. So be sure to mark down April 11th for the Easter drive-through at the Rock for some Easter time goodies. And I post up all of these High Canyon Country happenings or not happenings on our Facebook page, which is DCTV Daily News. You can also watch the program replay along with news links and stories of local interest. And you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, this is your local community TV station, so if you have something you'd like to share, you can contact us by email. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 970-677-4119. And yes, I'm wearing this face covering as the state is suggesting that when you do go out in public to have something of a face covering to keep you and others protected as best we can. Thank you for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday with replays online on our YouTube channel, or you can watch it on DCTV Daily News on Facebook. If you like the program, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your family and friends. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.